this video I'm going to go over a few more useful features in AutoCAD. I'm going to talk about undo, redo, and then I'll discuss tooltips and how to access help. And the last thing I'll talk about is something that greatly increase your efficiency. So I'll start off with undo. So let's just say that you're drawing some lines and circles and what have you, and then you draw something that you wish you hadn't drawn. So let's say that you wanted that ellipse to be a circle. Well, you can use undo on the quick access toolbar and it will remove it. In fact, if you continue clicking, the objects continue to go away until everything is undone. And of course the opposite of undo is redo. You can click on that and brings everything back. Okay. Now using that tool reminds me of tooltips. Okay, they're very helpful, easy. You don't even have to do anything really to use them. Functions in AutoCAD. If you hover over a button in AutoCAD, you get a tooltip. It'll tell you the name of the button, what it does, a brief description of what it does, and below the line break you'll see, like on this particular command, is a capital U, which indicates that the command alias or shortcut for the keyboard is the capital letter or just U. It doesn't have to be capitalized, and then followed by pressing enter on the keyboard. So let's try that out. So I'll enter U down here and then enter, and you can see that if I continue pressing U and then enter, the entities go away just like when I use the button up here. Okay. Now redo, if I use the tooltip here for redo, you see that below the line break, the command alias that you would type in the command line is redo, R-E-D-O, not R, that you might expect. But also the button functions a little bit different than if I were to type redo in the command line. I'll show you the difference. So I'm going to redo. This is everything here is included. So I'm going to undo the last 4 operations, and then I will redo. Okay, so I can redo all those by continuing to click on that button, and I can continue to do that. Okay, now if I were to use if I were to actually use the command alias and type this in the command line, if I were to type redo in the command line followed by pressing enter, you would expect that it would work the same way. Okay, but the problem is it only brings one instance back when you use redo in the command line. Okay, what it's actually entering is a when you're actually using this tool, it's actually using an option of multiple redos. Okay, so keep that in mind. Don't depend on undo, redo. Sometimes it makes more sense to just erase than it would be to undo or redo. So always keep a lookout for that. So so the tooltips are great, but you also get extended tooltips on some of these functions, like array, for example. If you hover over it for a certain amount of time, you get an extended tooltip, and you even get a little video showing how the function works. So that's array, and same thing with scale. Okay, you get the little tooltip, and then you get the extended tooltip if you hang on just a minute. Sometimes you'll get a video, sometimes you'll just get a diagram. But I think in most cases you always get the shortcut command alias for the keyboard under the line break down at the bottom. So for scale, if I wanted to type scale in the command line followed by pressing enter, then it would enter the scale command just as it would here. Okay. The very last thing it shows on the tooltip though is press F1 for more help. Okay, and this is context sensitive help, which means that right now I am utilizing a tooltip, and AutoCAD understands that I am interested in the scale command. So if I press F1 right now, it automatically brings up information about the scale command. Okay, whereas if I were just here in drawing space and pressed F1, it brings up the general window for help, where I could type in any number of search topics in the search bar. And if you're using a different version of AutoCAD, you'll have something similar to this, but if you press F1, you'll almost always have a search bar that you can search from. Okay, so that's a very good way to get help. Also, if I were in a command, like say I were in the line command in the middle of the line command and pressed F1, that's also an example of context-sensitive help. AutoCAD knew I was in the line command, and when I pressed F1, it brought up help in relation to the line command. Very helpful, very helpful. Okay, so we talked about tooltips, help, undo, redo, and the last thing I want to talk about is will greatly increase your efficiency is using the spacebar enter key on your keyboard to repeat a command. So let's say that you draw a line, or let's use a circle. Okay, so I drew a circle, and I want to draw another one. Instead of re-entering the circle command or looking for the button up here or whatever have you, I can actually press enter or spacebar on my keyboard, and it will re-enter the command automatically. So if I press spacebar, you can see in the command line it wants me to identify the center point. I didn't actually have to enter the circle command again. And believe it or not, that is very helpful. So I can just draw a bunch of circles very quickly. So that's a very useful tool. And just to let you know, when I'm drafting, I keep my middle finger on the escape key and I keep my thumb on the spacebar. Remember, the escape key exits a command, so when I'm done with a command, I'm just training myself to the point where I just press the escape key with my middle finger, don't even really think about it anymore. Since my thumb is always resting on the space bar, when I want to repeat a command, I just press down with my thumb and it automatically repeats the command. And honestly, after quite a bit of practice and experience, you'll do that motion with your left hand and you don't even think about it anymore, and it really, really improves your efficiency. So I would recommend you experimenting with that a little bit. And that completes this video.